Funding for this program is provided in part by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund and the citizens of Minnesota.
Hi, I'm Kathy Stutzman, host of On Cue Latitudes, the show that celebrates heritage, culture, and people from other countries who live here in our area. On today's show, we're going to learn about bravery and courage and the country of Germany. Stay tuned. On Cue Latitudes is next.
As Europe's largest economy and second most populous nation, after Russia, Germany is a key member of the continent's economic, political, and defense organizations. Its capital, Berlin, is a vibrant mix of historical sites like the Berlin Wall and modern structures like Potsdamer Platz. With German tribes documented as far back as the pre-Roman Iron Age, Germany has a long and colorful history. As home to the Protestant Reformation, Germany is evenly split between Protestants and Catholics, with a minority of other religions also represented. German culture has produced the likes of Beethoven, the Brothers Grimm, Albert Einstein, Bavarian beer, and the Bauhaus movement. Following the destruction of 2 world wars, Germany has emerged as a contributing member of the global community. Today, Germans enjoy a high standard of living with universal compulsory primary education and access to world-class universities and employment opportunities. 37 of the Fortune Global 500 companies are headquartered in Germany. The United States and Germany have a close relationship, likely influenced by the large number of German immigrants who settled in the United States in the 1800s. Stay with us as we explore the country of Germany.
So we've just learned some important things about Germany, which is great for context, but it is in the stories that we gain understanding. I'm happy to welcome Tim Ruzek as my guest co-host today. Welcome, Tim.
Thanks, Kathy. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, we're glad to have you here. And so my understanding is that you have some European heritage, Czech Republic, is that correct?
That's right. I'm 50% Czech, 50% Norwegian.
Oh, Norwegian.
That's
so you're
right.
100% European.
That's correct, yes.
Oh, okay, great. Well, those stories are so important. Can you share a story of your heritage with us?
Sure. Mine is related to kolaches, a Czech baked good with fruit filling that you can see on top of it. My late grandma Ruzek used to make those by hand all the time. She'd refused to use those devices in the kitchen that would make it easier and faster, and she would just devote big chunks of time to cranking out batch after batch. And I loved the apple flavor. My dad loved the poppy seed. I stayed away from that one, but some of my family members have tried to recreate it. We've tried to find some in other bakeries, a few that do offer kolaches, but nothing has come close to Grandma Ruzek's.
Sounds like a great project for you and your daughters to be working on to figure out how to recreate that taste.
Yeah, their dad's going to need to figure out a lot more in the kitchen before we attempt kolaches, but it's on our to-do list.
Well, for me, the stories always come to food, and I'm 50% European. I have Scottish in me and Italian, definitely. And I love nothing more than being in Europe and having a late night dinner and walking along that plaza. I just feel like I belong. It fits for me. And so today we're going to get to visit Europe, and our special guest is a German citizen. She's made several visits to our area as a student, and she has a story of bravery and courage that's absolutely inspiring.
Well, looking forward to it. It'll be a great discussion.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait. So come along for some stories as we meet Elisa. With many in our region being of German descent, today's conversation will highlight what's new in this familiar country. Tim and I are pleased to welcome Elisa Runiger to the program. Welcome, Elisa.
Thank you.
We're glad to have you here.
How is the proper way to say or welcome in Germany?
Well, I guess it's Hallo, schön Sie kennenzulernen.
Well, it's too much for me to take.
Okay, say that one
Hello.
more time. Hello.
Schön, Sie kennenzulernen.
Hello. Can I do that way?
Just say hello, that's good too.
hello. Thank you. Thank you.
The thing is that we have two different yous. You have the formal you and the personal you, so that's the difference.
Ah, well, thank you for helping me understand that. Is the informal hello okay?
Yeah.
All right. Well, great. Well, Elisa, we'd love to have you first of all start by telling us what brought you to this community. Tell us a little bit about your journey here.
It was 7 years ago when my family sent me to the US with Rotary, and my two older brothers also went to the US, so I was just one of them who also got to go, and I got an email and it said I'm going to Austin, Minnesota. So that's how I ended up here.
So your family sent you as a youth exchange student? How old were you when you?
I was 16 when I got here.
You were 16, and how long did you come for?
I stayed a whole year. I did my junior high school year
Wow.
over here.
Your family, obviously, you said two older brothers also did the same thing in the United States. Where did they end up?
My oldest one went to Cody, Wyoming, in the middle of nowhere, and my other one went to Fountain Hills in Arizona.
Wow.
Yep.
And what was your parents' strong belief in having each of you do that?
My dad was is still a Rotarian, and we've hosted many of the exchange students that we hosted parties for them where they gathered from the different districts. So we've always seen them living at our houses or in our city. So we wanted to do the same experience and visit a different country.
So you were here from 16 to 17, but you're here again.
I know. I ended coming back because I had 3 great host families and I made good friends, so I kept coming back and combined it with internships I needed for my university. Found nice men, or one in particular, and now I'm just here for a college year after my university just to find out what I want to do when I come back home job-wise.
What are you studying right now?
Massage therapy.
Oh.
So your plan is to go back to Germany then after this year?
I will have to because I only have a 1-year visa.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I'll come back afterwards, but I will for sure work for a little bit at home.
Okay.
So Elisa, we've been doing this show celebrating cultures and traditions, and some of our guests have shown up in some beautiful, elaborate clothing. And some of our viewers may have expected you to show up in lederhosen. Can
Yeah.
you tell us a little bit about,
I sure can.
what you're wearing?
Yeah. The thing is, the Oktoberfest cliche is not what I would like to represent for my country. Plus, the lederhosen is what the guys wear. It's those brown pants.
Okay.
The girls wear nice, tight dresses. So I could have done that, but it would kind of be like Minnesotans wearing cowboy boots and a cowboy hat for Texas, but it's a different state, and the only thing that the Oktoberfest represents is the Bavarian state way down south, so that's not really something that I would wear in my state.
Oh, so where are you from?
I'm from Halver in Germany. It's a town of 23,000 people. I live in a little suburb of that, and it's in West Germany.
What's the area of your town like? And when I think of Germany, I think of mountains and...
The big mountains are down south in the Alps. We have little mountains, so we can go sledding, but it's not really worth skiing because we don't have lifts that go up.
Okay.
It's hilly. You can drive 2 hours and it's all flat. It varies in different areas, but I live in a little hilly area.
So you live in a hilly area, and you were telling me something about one of the jobs that you have in your town. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do?
I work on the weekends at the Deutsche Post, the German mail, and I deliver packages and mail in a little Volkswagen bus, and it's a little different than here because when I get invited to different occasions in Austin, it's I get an address and I don't really know where it is because it's all lined up and it's a block system and I don't know what the house number means and I just can't find it. I have to always look it up on the internet. So in my town, streets are organized by name, so it would be the flower blocks where there's Rose Street and I don't know the names for other flowers, but or the animals where it's Bear Road and Giraffe Road or whatnot. So it's easy for me to do that, and we don't have blocks, so there's no way we could organize that somehow.
You mentioned your hometown's about the same size as Austin, right, population-wise.
Yep.
Is there a lot of other similarities between the communities, or?
I guess our number is made out of all the different suburbs. So in Austin, it's just one chunk if you look on the maps. If you fly over America, that's what it is. There's a town here, town here, town here. At home, it's more spread out. No matter where you drive, there are always houses somewhere.
Okay.
It's just kind of cut off somehow to this city and this city. So it's more spread out, so it's less of a centered community. Not everybody knows everyone from the same town.
So it's more spread out. How do you get around?
We have public transportation a lot, so that's how I get to school. When I first got here, I was surprised because people my age were driving. With 16, we don't drive till we're 18, so we take the bus, we take the train, we walk a lot too. We can talk about gas prices later, so that's how we get around.
So I noticed you brought a key with you.
I brought a key, yes.
Yeah, can you tell us about that key? Is that your key from?
That's not mine. My brothers are using that, but I brought a key because cars are obviously one of our biggest export factors, and I would just like to talk about a difference at home when it comes up to, I don't know how to call it, independency maybe even, because over here I always think that people don't carpool a lot, and they want to make sure they can go when they want to go and arrive when they want to arrive and are not dependent on others. But at home, since the gas prices, I looked it up yesterday, I think it was about $9.91 or dollars a gallon. So that's why we have little cars, lots of little cars, no big trucks and just pickup trucks and whatnot. So it's a big deal for us, and that's why we take the buses too, because we couldn't afford all the driving.
And so people carpool. How does that work? Do you all get together and say we need to go here or do that? How does that work?
When my brothers lived in their different cities where they studied at, my brother lived in Berlin, so every time he wanted to leave to go up there, he just went on the internet and it says, okay, I want to go from A to B on this date, and then other people would say, okay, I'm driving, so just go along. Or even local. We drive with 18, but we drink with 16, so there's always one driver, obviously. So people carpool, and one person drives everybody home afterwards, and no drinking and driving.
I asked too, is it unnerving when you came over here and then the different sides of the road as far as what people drive on?
It's the same sizes. We drive on the right side too. I think it's just England in Europe.
Oh,
What's different about the driving is the Autobahn. We don't have hardly any speed limits. We have 4 lanes, and the roads are very smooth. When I was playing volleyball in high school and we had those yellow bus rides to the games, it was always ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom on the interstate.
Right, here
so,
in Minnesota.
Yeah, so I think if you didn't have a speed limit here, that would not be very comfortable either to go on all those roads. But we drive on the same side, yes.
I didn't know that.
So earlier, before we were on, Tim, you were talking a little bit, asking Elisa a question about food.
Yeah, I assumed, and I guess assumed correctly, but sauerkraut is a German word, but I've always associated it with Czech food because I'm half 50% Czech, and so my uncle makes homemade sauerkraut, and that's a big family tradition, especially in his side of the family. But what is sauerkraut? Is that one of the top foods in German culture?
It is not. I would say maybe in my grandma's generation, I think she would still do that a lot. You eat it normally with sausages and just bratwurst in general. And my dad makes it sometimes still, and the whole house smells when he does it. My mom does not really appreciate it. But we do have other foods that would maybe stand out more nowadays, which is just
like what?
The schnitzel is pretty similar, typical. What else? There's sweets, spätzle, the noodles that you can just kind of scrape into the pot of boiling water, and it comes up, and you just put it on the plate.
Would there be specific occasions that you would have foods, special foods for, and what traditions are those, or what occasions?
We eat
would those
goose
be?
for Christmas.
Goose for Christmas. Okay.
What else? Fish is a very common dish for Christmas too,
Okay.
and it just depends in what area you live. We have different cultures of food, I guess. On the North Sea, they eat fish. In South, they have more sauerkraut and more the Oktoberfest pretzels. And in my region, it's different things again. So.
That's great. I always love thinking about food. So I'm wondering if you'd be willing to share with us a little bit about the other things that you brought.
Well, I just brought some euros, which is our currency, which makes it easy to travel. Germany is only the size of Montana, but you can drive through many countries in a day if you're an American, because Americans are used to driving a lot. For us, 2 hours is a lot already, but we all have the same currency, so if you go to Spain or Italy or Denmark, not Denmark actually, but Belgium, for example, it's all the same thing, and you can just travel very easily.
Has it always been that way?
No, it changed in over 10 years ago. It must have been 2001 or 2. That's a tough question. I'm not quite sure, but yep.
And tell us a little bit about that card.
The card is something I brought over that I do talk a lot about too, which is my health insurance card. And I know this is a little sensible topic maybe in the US sometimes, especially with the current changes, but my dad is a doctor, so I grew up with it, and it's just really nice to see that you don't have to worry about being homeless or anything like that, or if you have a major injury and you get your surgeries, you're always insured, and you'll always get it right away, rather than going to the hospital here and not even knowing if I'm going to be cured with what I have. So.
And as far as the country being divided, East Germany and West Germany, being together now for almost 25 years, over 25 years.
I'm
right?
23, and it happened in 1989, so I was just born in 90 when they reunited officially. So.
And is there differences still today from those two being separated?
The language is still different. They have a really interesting accent. They are still keeping up of rebuilding their roads and buildings. They get a lot, like tons of money to fix their area still. And the big cities are beautiful. They did a really good job on making those cities look nice again. But the suburbs, I was just there last year, they still look like you're in the old days. So they're still working on it.
So Lisa, I'm wondering, because you'd said sometimes it's difficult to show patriotism, and so I'm wondering if there's a tradition or a celebration from Germany that you just think of and you just smile and you want to share with everybody about.
Well, speaking of the showing flags, the only thing where we actually do that is the Soccer World Cup. When it was hosted in Germany, or just if it happens, people have it on their cars, and they put little flags on their cheeks, and it's really the only thing where we can really do that comfortably. Another tradition that we have are Easter fires, for example, where we burn leftover wood, and everybody gathers around, and we have bread dough on a stick, and we make our own bread and eat it, and that's the Easter tradition, for example.
So in your neighborhoods, you're just all having these celebrations.
You got to
these
make sure
times
the city knows about it, so they don't come and it has to be official. But yep, neighbors just gather and they all bring food. And
I see. Now we're back to the food again.
Sorry.
No, I love talking about food. We could talk about food for days and days. But so we only have a few minutes left, and so I'm wondering, what do you want to share with people that we haven't been able to talk about, or that we haven't touched on yet? We're celebrating and honoring cultures. So What do you want people to know about?
I think I might say something about the sports system here and at home. I'm a sports therapist. Soon, I guess I should say. I'm gonna graduate next summer officially. But I work with a lot of people who are not athletic as well, and I really love the school system you have with the different sports and the support the parents give them. But I feel like after college, many people don't have a chance to work out as much. They can go to different facilities and work out, but it's not a competition. So if you're a cross-country runner and you're 40 years old at home, we have different runs everywhere, and you can move up from city winner and you're going to go up to state winner, and you can be a national winner in your age group from 40 to 50. So I feel like this should be a thing here, over here too maybe, where you don't only have benefit runs for people who need money or for organizations, but just for the heck of the sport. So because you want to compete and you still want to say, hey, I can still run and I'm still the best in this area. So
soccer is big in Germany, right? Is there a lot of leagues like that for adults as well?
The same thing, yeah.
Non-professionals, of course, but
yeah, I think I brought a picture of my soccer team. I play in the lowest league, and if we win this league, we go up, and we have people. Like I think our goalie is about 40 years old, so when they can still do it, go ahead and do it, and then you can just move up. So
you advance up to the next level as you succeed.
Yeah, right.
Great.
If you lose, you're gonna go back to the lower season the next season then.
But it's an incentive for you to stay active. And
yes.
Great.
Well, great. I have to tell you that I've always felt very much at home when I've been in Germany, and I'm looking forward to looking up more about Germany, and I'm excited to hear if our viewers have any questions to learn about more, because we still have you in our community for a little while, at least until June, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Elisa. If you have a question, or you would like to share stories about your own experiences with Germany and its people, please join us on Facebook for an ongoing conversation with On Cue Latitudes. Stay tuned. Tim and I will be right back in just a moment with more On Cue Latitudes.
On Cue Latitudes is fostering an online conversation on KSMQ's Facebook page. Here's a recent post. If you'd like to know more about the cultures we're exploring, like us on Facebook and join the conversation.
Well, that was really interesting, Kathy. Thanks for the invitation to be part of that discussion. I learned a lot of things that I guess I was kind of expecting that I would be learning about, and other things that were surprising that I was learning about.
Like what?
While driving, that Germans drive on the right side of the road. I thought all Europeans drove on the opposite side of the road.
Yeah, well, I've been to Germany and driven on the Autobahn, and it felt to me like I was driving on the wrong side of the road, so I know.
Well, hopefully I'm not the only one out there that had that wrong assumption.
No.
Another interesting aspect, I think, that she emphasized, Elisa did, was the emphasis in Germany on organized sports for all ages, not just for youth, like we have more of an emphasis on here, and to help encourage people of all ages to be healthy and active. I found that really interesting.
Yeah, and for me, I learned so much, particularly about the sacrifices that our families make, and I think that that's the piece that I want to talk about the bravery and the courage. It was the bravery and courage of her parents to send their 16-year-old daughter to live in another country for a full year. Can you think about that? You've got daughters. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, me personally, with two young daughters, it's tough for me to, envision myself wanting to, I guess, lose that time. But they have such they see that as so important for their children, all of their children, to go overseas and gain those experiences and be more global. And you got to give them credit.
Oh, yeah, and so as I think about that and how we can make our children feel comfortable, we can have, I found Spätzle in the grocery store. And so one of her comfort foods as a 16-year-old in the country, she could find some of her own heritage here. So I want to thank you. Thank you all for joining us for our trip to Germany today. I hope you learned something new and interesting. Thank you, Tim, for being with us. I look forward to exploring another country and another culture next time on Q Latitudes. I'm your host, Kathy Stutzman.
On Q Latitudes is a production of KSMQ Television in Austin, nonprofit public television.
Funding for this program is provided in part by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund and the citizens of Minnesota.